All right, so here it is. This is the Mustang that I got for sale. It's a 88 Mustang coupe with a Gen 2 Coyote swap. Obviously you can see that. It's got the sheet metal intake that I built for it with twin 750 Garrett air-to-water intercooler cores. S400, S475 turbo, 96 millimeter T6 132 exhaust housing. I made it so that down the road you could upgrade to a larger turbo without having to remake a whole bunch of stuff. Still has room for a large air filter on it, so you can street drive it, do drag week and stuff like that with the thing. Got a nice aluminum intercooler that custom built mounts for all AN fittings welded onto it, same as the thermostat housing. There is no thermostat on this car. Even the heater hoses are all AN, and at the core they're AN as well. Those hoses are run actually outside the frame rail here, so you don't have that draped through the engine bay. The breathers, it's got AN adapters on there. I don't know if you can see in there, but each cylinder head, each bank has its own catch can, and there's drains at the bottom so that you can drain all the condensation out. This thing runs on E85, so you will get some condensation. There is the Holley fuel pressure regulator sensor that goes to the Holley Dominator ECU. Same thing as the IET map sensor, coolant temp, all that. It's got a handful of oil pressure sensors, transmission pressure, converter pressure sensors as well. Strange manual. Master cylinder. It actually has short pieces of flex line up here in case you had to do any work under the valve covers or to the cylinder head. You can actually unbolt this real easy, get it out of the way without having to crack the brake lines open. Wipers work. It's got a fiberglass flat stock appearing fiberglass hood with the lockable arrow catch, I think is what those are called, but like flush fitting pin setup. Here is the catch can on this side. There also, and I'll raise the car up so we can see this easier. There is the line lock. It's got nice paint, new finish, good condition. Obviously it's got the engine bay smooth paneling. The intercooler pipe, I ran this so if somebody, I used this car to make this turbo kit, so I kind of made it like a one size fits all deal. So the intercooler tubing runs up here and then in front of the radiator, and then it pops out over there. If somebody ever did want to run an air to air instead of the air to water, they could, because of the way it's routed. It's got a ProCharger big red blow off valve underneath the headlight under here. Let's go ahead and go to the trunk. We'll show you that. I'm going to show you some of the flaws on the thing too. So it still has original taillights on the thing. This one does have some chips on the top. You can't see any of that obviously when the trunk's down, but the lenses are good and everything functions the way it should. Yeah, it's got a Viair onboard air system. There is the compressor. There's a tank. I believe this is a 1.5 gallon system. It's all automated. And I have it plumbed into this regulator here with a fitting in case you were doing drag week and you needed to fill tires up or use an air tool or anything like that. It's got a 17-gallon fuel cell that I built for it that has dual 400 AEM pumps in. That's what each one of these, this line and this line is for. This is the return currently. I have it made so that you could fit 3 pumps in there if you wanted to. What you would do is change this line to a 3rd pump and you would use this as the return. I also have it wired for the extra one. If you wanted to upgrade stuff, I've kind of already thought about that. Totally upgradable. It's got, I might have to get a light over here so you can see that's easier, but a really heavy duty anti-roll bar that I built for it, that the end links go through the floor. Obviously you can see the mini tubs, and when I raise this up, you'll see underneath it's pretty much to the extreme to where the frame rails are just slivers. Now you can see the chute cable. I still have the chute lever and everything on it. Right now I got the chute off of the back of the car, but it'll come with it. And then you can see the roll cage where it comes in through here. There's a lot of stuff that's hidden. Tried to make it so that when somebody's just looking at the car in the staging lanes or something, you can't see all the chassis work that's been done to it. And this is one thing that I don't like. Some previous owner at some point must have been sanding on the car and got the windows. So there are some marks on this glass. When you're up close, you can see it. When you're not, you can't. I'll let you see the door panels. They're in good condition. That is a factory black. This car wasn't a factory black, but this is an original Ford interior from a car that did have a good factory black interior. Swing out bars. They work. It's got black leather S197 Mustang seats. It's got a Dakota digital dash instrument cluster. Heater works. It does not have AC on it. I did build it so that AC would fit, and it's all wired. Same thing for the radio. There is no radio in the car right now. It's all wired for it. It's wired for speakers in the doors and for speakers at the rear. 4 speakers. It does have a passenger seat. I'll go over this panel here in a second. It's got the B&M shifter. It's got line lock and trans brake, line lock and trans brake are there. This is a bypass switch. This has a power glide with a Pro Tree trans brake, which means you have to activate the trans brake to get reverse, which can be a pain in the butt. Everybody knows it's got one, driving in reverse. So if you don't want to back up with your one hand on here and one hand on the steering wheel, you just activate this switch. It keeps it in reverse so that you can use 2 hands on the steering wheel if you're driving around on the street, backing out of a parking lot or something. That's handy. This is so it's got an exhaust with a boost activated dump basically, and I have wired that through the Holley with a electronic solenoid. It's all automated by the Holley as to when to open, but if you wanted to open it, you just do this and it opens up the exhaust dump. This is a switch for traction control. This thing is pre-wired. I've already got wired up for this. Is a Davis VPS mounts here, and then a profiler. It's already wired for the profiler. So this turns traction control on and off. It's not coming with the VPS or the profiler, but if you wanted to get one, it's already wired up. You just plug them in, bang, it works. This is track tuning stuff. So I had to come with notes. This is my tuning notebook, or a little cheat sheet if I'm in the staging lanes and want to make a quick change. Color coded according to the notes here. Launch RPM, boost ramp, and launch retard, timing retard. These 3 switches will change those parameters. That's the mirror switch. Electric mirrors, they work. Electric windows, they work. Electric locks, they work as well. Swing outs on both sides, obviously. It does have the and it is so dark in here, I don't know if you can see. I might have to get a light for you, but recessed into the rear seat delete is the water tank for the intercooler. And it's the tank itself is about 3 gallons. The whole system holds 4-ish gallons. It seems to do a good job keeping everything cool. It's got a drain on the bottom if you wanted to drain it after you get to the track and put ice in or whatever. The battery is recessed into the same rear seat delete on the behind the driver's seat. Again, let's show you the cage. There's the A-pillars. It does have a dash bar behind the dash. All right, I got a light now, so you can see what I'm talking about back there. It's all carpeted. There is the chute cable, and you can see the chute release that I made that actually just bolts to the factory dome light right there. I tried to make this car so you can race it, but it's not really a race car. I mean, it's more of a street car for sure. You can unbolt that thing so you don't have all this racy stuff in it all the time. It looks all clean and pretty simple. Like there's not much to it from the interior. So there is one chip right there on the windshield. Like I said, I'm not too pleased with the glass on the car. That's about the only thing that's really not perfect, or close to perfect at least. It does have ozite carpet everywhere. I didn't show you the transmission tunnel when I was under there either, but this transmission tunnel has been raised to get the right height that I wanted. It sits pretty low, and I didn't want the drive shaft hitting the floor, so the drive shaft tunnel has been raised to 2 or 3 inches, high enough that the center console will still fit without any issues there. I don't know if you can see that, but it's all been rewired. That is now the new fuse box, and there is some modules above that for the Dakota Digital wiring, and solenoids for boost control are over here, and here these disconnects and stuff behind the center console are for the Holley EFI and the input output stuff like that. That would be some radio wiring right there. It is drive-by-wire still. Has the Mustang throttle pedal. It has a brake pedal that I actually made to get the pedal ratio that I want, so you don't have to really stand on the brake pedal like crazy. With the manual brakes work, they work really good. This car stops very well. That's one of my pet peeves with manual brakes on these cars. Most of them stop like crap unless you can leg press 1,200 pounds. There's the passenger door panels and seat. And turn the light on here. That is the Dominator ECU. Everything fits behind the box, the dash rather. That module, you can see the label of right there. That module is the cam controller. Variable cam timing is still active. That one plug, that loose plug that doesn't have anything on it right there, that's what your profiler would plug into, or TC3, whatever. David's traction control unit will plug into that. Fitment through the dash, nice and clean. Okay, so here we are underneath the car. You can see the radiator and fittings on it, and the oil system. It's got a remote oil filter right there. It's got oil pressure, oil temperature sensors on that. K-member that I built, swap K-member. It's got a lot more clearance for the exhaust or whatever you might want to do. Notice that the crossbar that the control arm mounts come off of are underneath the control arm pivot point instead of on top like typical. Like, it gains your clearance for your exhaust. Pinto manual rack. That's chrome moly, by the way. Same with the K-member is. Same thing with the control arms. Those are narrowed. I narrowed those enough to get the right height I want it without having issues with tire clearance. Strange 4-piston brakes on all 4 corners. Strange double adjustable struts. Racecraft drop spindle. There's the down pipe coming off the turbo. There's the exhaust dump. And then it normally routes all the way back to Borla XR1 muffler. So you can pull it next to a cop or something, not get any attention. Steering shaft. Does have poly motor mounts, but it also, so I don't have a front plate. It does have a mid plate though. Like again, like I was saying, I didn't want it to look like a race car from the outside, but it does have the mid plate to tie everything together, keep it stiff. It's got a 25.3 floor and back section. If you ever did decide to turn it into a 25.3 or something, it saved a lot of work. Those 2 -16 hoses right there are water lines going to the intercooler. That Y going into those 2 -8s are fuel feed, and then this -8 here is the fuel return. Those sensors there on the transmission cooler lines are transmission line pressure and transmission cooler pressure. Also transmission temperature. That one sensor is a pressure / temperature sensor. It does have a bypass right there to keep cooler line pressure in check so you don't tear the thrust out of the motor. JW transmission, 10 clutch drum, 180 straight cut gear, good transmission, TCI custom converter. It's got, I know in the ad I said it has a JW wheel flex plate. I was wrong. That's a PA performance. It's still an SFI. It's a good flex plate. There's the catch can for the driver's side. There's the catch can for the passenger side. Go back, you can see the floor. It's got a transmission cross member is removable, so you can take the trans out really easily. There's a trans brake. Everything's got disconnects on it. Try to make it easy to work on, or as easy as possible. V-bands on the exhaust the whole way back. You know, good yokes. Good aluminum drive shaft. Nice rear yoke with the Davis drive shaft collar and sensor. There's the 8.8 housing, braced, all adjustable mounts that I built. Same thing with the torque boxes. You can see all the chassis work that's hiding underneath. Same thing with the upper control arms on the torque boxes. That water pump is the intercooler water pump. Beadlock 1512 boat specialty wheels and tires. It will fit a 14. I've had 14-inch wide wheels on here, not a problem. AFCO Big Gun X shocks. Again, 4-piston, strange drag brakes. You can see where the anti-roll bar is coming down through the floor. 17-gallon aluminum gas tank that I built for it. And the vents, there's a vent in the front corner on each side. They go to those filters that have shut-off valves in case you're going to park the car for an extended period of time so you don't get air in the system. I would recommend filling it up and then shutting those valves down. Prevents you from having fuel system issues with the 85. Tanks filled with the stock. You know, you pump it just like stock through the factory filler. There's the kill switch. can see clean line routing. Everything's secured with the Dell clamps. It's a fuel filter. It's got plenty of ground clearance for the low ride height. I've got basically the roll cage substructure is the lowest part of the car, so you're going to hit that before you tear up your plumbing or your wiring or your exhaust or any of that stuff. There's the drain. I've just got to go into this hose right there with the valve. That's the drain for the water tank. In case you wanted to drain the water out, put ice in it, make passes at the track. Something else I forgot too to cover is that the cruise control button is also the bump. So you got trans brake here, bump on the wheel. Go ahead and fire it up so you can see the oil pressure and all that. It's all happy. Put my foot on the brake pedal. This LED strip too is a shift light or a stage light, so it actually comes on twice. First time is when basically you're ready to bump in, bump, stage, and then it'll come on wherever you have it programmed to shift. That's it, pretty cool. So that's it. That's the car I got for sale. If you got any questions or want to talk about it or want to come look at it, send me a message or give me a call. Thanks a lot.